Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As I have been all year, I am Tina. This video is my 2021 reading stats. What genres did I read? How did I read them? What kinds of books were they? Were they ebook, etc., etc. I've made lots and lots of charts for you. So if data compilation is like your thing, you will love this. If you enjoy it a bit too much, keep that to yourself. I don't want to know. But I hope you enjoy the 21 or 22 charts that I have here. So without further ado, I read 81 books this year. My Goodreads goal was 52. So I beat that by quite a bit. I owe this to being on maternity leave for the first 8 or 9 months of the year, I'm pretty sure, because when you have a baby of that age, they don't do a lot. They're kind of happy, just sitting there, playing with blocks. Also, lots of time for feeding the baby was also reading time and etc. So how many pages is that? That's 28,269 pages. So that's pretty cool. So what did I read this year? Out of the 81 books, I read 43 sci-fis, 1 historical fiction, 5 thriller mystery books, 1 romance, oh my god, 1 contemporary, 2 pre-modern kind of, 1 YA, 7 horror books, 5 literary fictions, and 15 fantasy books. So yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. I had hoped to read more like Victorian novels or kind of classics this year, but I just didn't get to it. I was so busy with all the other stuff I was reading. So this year's kind of goal is to read more classics. I mean, then again, the first 2 months they already booked up with modern stuff. So so of those sci-fis, I didn't break it down to every single subgenre, but I read 12 post-apocalyptic books, which is not surprising, given I love that genre. I read 11 classic sci-fis, which I thought was pretty good, because I think my goal was to read like 1 every month or so, yeah. And then I read 20 kind of contemporary, modern space opera, hard sci-fi, etc., like that. I didn't really break them down any further, because I don't have a million years to do this. So in terms of the types of books, I read 67 traditionally published books, and 14 indie titles. I think that's pretty good because I get a lot of traditional books via ARCs for NetGalley, and so I thought that was a pretty good combination. If I do get to another 80 books this year, we'll see. I would hope that I would hit 20 indie published, but we'll see. I hope so. And next year I'm going to include small presses in there because I'm pretty sure I didn't think about this till November, but I should have been on my chart because I have lots and lots of a tracking sheet in Excel. I marked down traditional or indie, and I never thought to put small press, so I'm definitely going to track small presses next year because I think that's an important distinction as well, because small presses are not the big 5, and I would like to support them as well because, well, I own a small press, but also they're putting out some interesting stuff as well. So in terms of the type of books that I read, it was ebook or print or audiobook. I read 42 print books, I read 29 ebooks, and I read 10 audiobooks. So that was pretty good. Those audiobooks actually really helped bump up my reading stats because I didn't really start reading audiobooks until this year. And I really like them. I think it's great to be able to listen to a story while I'm walking my dogs or doing cleaning around the house or whatever. Sometimes I'll put it on while I play like Minecraft or something. Not like I ever get time to do that, but it's a nice relaxing time when I do get to do it. So yeah, I like audiobooks now. The type of print books that I read 15 mass market paperbacks. Those are like these little dudes here. I read 17 regular paperbacks. I mean, you know what those are. And then I read 10 hardcovers. Out of these, 5 books were Canadian. I really need to ramp that up a bit. I'm not hitting the guidelines. What is it, CRTC? I can't remember. Anyway. Now, how did I acquire these books? I read 11 books I got from NetGalley. I got 11 books from the library. I bought 18 books on Amazon. I got 11 books from the used bookstore. A lot of those were these the old classic sci-fis. Pretty much all of them, I'm pretty sure, used bookstore. I got 4 gifts. I got 10 on Audible. I borrowed 1 book from my sister. 3 I already owned in my collection. They were a reread. 7 were either from the author, they were part of book tours I was part of, or they were from Whispering Stories, where I review books. Occasionally, apparently, I don't read as many as I should anymore. I got 2 books on BookBub, and I got 1 from Yard Sard, which is a yard sale, like a garage sale. Though how I got that... Oh, it was a book I got from a yard sale a couple of years ago. I'm going to say I haven't been to a garage sale in a couple of years because of COVID, unfortunately. In terms of rating books, as I said, kind of mid-year, I wasn't going to do stars anymore, but I still tracked the stars just for this purpose. I mean, I do give stars on Goodreads, so I'll just track them anyway. So there were 4 books I DNF'd. So I can't remember what they were. I gave no books 1 star. I gave 6 books 2 stars. I gave 18 books 3 stars. The bulk got 4 stars at 32 books, and 21 books got 5 stars. So that's a pretty good reading year, I think. I would, and even the DNFs. I usually don't give DNFs 1 star. I usually give them 2 or even 3, because sometimes it's not like the book is bad. It's just not for me, and I'm not into it. So I don't think it's fair to give it like a bad rating if I think the book is well written. For example, Hummingbird Salamander, which I'm not going to do a review of because I don't think it's worth it. I didn't finish that one. I was not feeling it. So I didn't give it I think I gave it like 2 or 3 stars on Goodreads, even though I didn't finish it. So in terms of books that I read, 37 books were part of a series. 44 books were a standalone. And of those in a series, 23 were part 1, 14 were part, 2 further on. So I thought that was kind of interesting that I started 23 series this year. Actually, I read a lot of series. I think because a lot of books now are coming out as trilogies and things like that, like intentionally. So I've been reading a lot of those. Well, whether I get to the subsequent parts is, not sure. So how many books did I read per month? I read 4 in January, 5 in February, 7 in March, 7 in April, 10 in May, 9 in June, 8 in July, 8 in August, 5 in September, 7 in October, 4 in November, and 7 in December. That seems pretty normal to me. May is a surprise. I'm not sure what was going on there. Actually, I think what it was that was when my daughter transitioned to daycare. No, she didn't go to daycare till later. I don't know why. Whatever. So in terms of years of publication, the earliest book I read was from 1920, and the latest book was from 2021. I actually read 25 2021 titles this year. Usually I have a lot more older titles on my reading list, but I got a lot of ARCs this year, so that's probably why that changed. Now, I was trying to see how diverse my reading habits are. While my stats aren't as diverse as I kind of hoped they'd be, I do read a lot of classic sci-fi, which a lot of the time are written by white dudes, so I think that skewed it a lot. I also read 3 Proust books, 3 parts of In Search of Lost Time this year. I think that threw it off a bit as well. But in terms of the authors, kind of like Sexuality, I didn't know 27 because I didn't talk about it on their blogs. Not like I did super in-depth research, but sometimes they mention it, or if they mention they're married with a wife or a husband or whatever. So 27 I didn't know. 38 were hetero, but they could be bi, but they're married to someone of the opposite sex. And then 13 were openly queer authors. So I was kind of hoping for a bit more, but I mean, it is hard because when you're reading a lot of classic sci-fi, a lot of the times, obviously they don't talk about that kind of thing. And I mean, the thing is, we shouldn't have to know anyone's sexuality. So that's why I know almost 30 of them we don't know, and that's fine. I was just curious to see if there was a kind of pattern. In terms of author diversity, in terms of like race, 59 authors I read were white. 18 were people of color, and 4 I wasn't sure because they didn't have a picture on their bio, and their name was pretty Western, so I wasn't sure. So I thought that was, I could do better. I could definitely read more books by people of color. I thought I was reading a lot more, but apparently I wasn't. So I need to keep more kind of up on that because I do, I don't think about it when I pick up a book to read. I don't even look at the author most of the time. I just kind of look at the story. So I think if I'm serious about reading books for more people of color, I think I need to branch out of sci-fi a lot more, because while there are a lot of, I think most of the books I read were by people of color in sci-fi, but I think I need to branch out into more contemporary books of people of other cultures, because I don't do that a lot. But then again, I like science fiction. That's what I like to read. So I don't know. Do you guys think about this at all when you read? I mean, you don't have to. It's just something that I was curious about. In terms of the author's gender identity, I read 37 books by men, 36 books by women. I read 4 books by non-binary, gender-fluid people. 1 was unknown, and then I read 3 books that were by couples, which I thought was kind of funny. So I think comparing this data to that of the characters in the book is what's more interesting to me than kind of what I'm reading. So in terms of main character sexuality, now, I mean, if there's multiple characters, I kind of picked the one that was like the most focused on. So in terms of that, 65 of the characters were hetero, 14 were queer. And despite the 27 unknown author sexual identities, these seem to line up. So that was interesting, actually, in terms of how many authors were cis-het versus how many main characters. That seemed to line up, which I thought was interesting. But when it comes to the diversity of race in the books, I had characters, 54 characters were white, and 23 characters were people of color. And then 3 characters were either aliens or animals or AI. So it seems we have, a lot of white writers writing people of color main characters, which is both a good and a bad thing. It would be nice to have more people of color authors writing people of color characters, but at the same time, it is nice to see that people are, attempting to bring diversity into their stories and not just writing what they know. So I think it's a complex balance between the whole own voices thing versus attempting to bring diversity into the books, because it is a lot harder for people of color authors to get deals. I don't know why. You think it wouldn't matter, but old systemic problems, I guess, and it's awful, and I think we need to work on that. In terms of gender identity for the main characters, I had 34 male characters and 46 female characters. I didn't have any non-binary gender fluid characters. I mean, there were a couple that it was hinted at, but it wasn't like specifically said that they were. So I was like, well, I'm not going to just put that on them. So it turns out we have a lot of men writing female main characters. I think that's really nice to see. I think that's great to see. I think as long as they, do the research and it's not like a stereotypical main character. But honestly, I've read a lot of books by men this year that wrote female characters perfectly well, and that was really great to see, because I read a lot of classic sci-fi, as I said, and sometimes those are not that great. But yeah, so that's kind of why I read them, because they're funny. But anyway, so I thought that was interesting. I don't know if you guys think that's interesting or not. Let me know. Let me know if there's any other stats you want me to track, this year, because I love tracking things like that. So I would totally be open to whatever you guys suggest. I just think it's interesting to kind of look at these kind of demographics and how they relate to one another. So, what were, though, my favorite books of the year? So, my top 10 overall. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about my least favorite first. So, these are my least favorite that I did not DNF, because the DNFs were not my least favorite. The top 3 least favorite books were Midnight Library, which I thought was incredibly boring, The Bones of Zora, which was incredibly sexist, and then The Amazons of Samalan, which was disturbingly weird and crazy, and not in a good way. So those were those 3. You can check out my reviews of them if you want. Actually, I don't think I reviewed Midnight Library, or if I did, it was in like a wrap-up, but definitely Bones of Zora and Amazons of Samalan if you want to laugh, because I get pretty worked up about those 2 books. So my top 10 books, though, overall. No surprise, if you watch my channel, 10 Low. I talk about the book all the time, and I absolutely love it. I actually ordered it from Amazon. I don't have it with me, but I'm going to order a copy. Hollow Kingdom, which I recently read. I absolutely adored that. Sea of Rust. I loved that. Galaxy Within the Ground Within, the 4th book of the Wayfarers, Becky Chambers. Loved that. Chilling Effect, I really love. It's in my stack back there because I got it for Christmas. Trial of Lightning by Rebecca Brownhorse. I loved that. After the Flood, that was a really good post-apocalyptic book. Harrow the Ninth, of course. I've got those over there somewhere. They're behind my stack here. I'm reorganizing my office, so things are all over the place. Maleficent 7, which I don't have right now, even though Angry Robot sent me a copy because they're so nice. I loaned it to my cousin because I knew he would love it. The Hollow Places, which I actually also got for Christmas up there. I listened to that one on Audible, and I really loved it, so I wanted it on paperback. And then I got a couple honorable mentions. I really, really liked Sliding Scales by Alan Dean Foster. I reviewed that recently, and I really like it. I'm like, I love it, actually. And then Spirits of the Season, which I recently just finished and reviewed. So here's some stats about my YouTube channel, if you're curious. My top watched videos were, number 1 is The Death of Jane Lawrence, which surprises me. That I don't know why so many people are watching that video. It's not even that good. There's lots of clips of Michael Fassbender, though. Maybe that's why they're watching it. My second top watch video is Dune, which only has a 50% like thing, so people are clearly downvoting it, which I think is funny. And then My Heart is a Chainsaw is number 3. Ensnared, that weird romance, that's my 4th watch video, and only 72.7% of people liked that one because they clearly don't think I'm making fun of romance, which, I mean, I wasn't. I was making fun of that particular book because it's ridiculous, but, I mean, it's entertaining. And then Maleficent 7. So yeah, apparently it's true. If you post stuff that makes people annoyed, you get more views. Hence my Dune, hence my Ensnared. I mean, with Ensnared, though, I mean, I said romance is a valid genre. I just don't particularly like it because I don't really like the 3-act structure. And romance books, I'd rather it be more a slow romance burn, whatever. It's fine, and if you want to read about a woman banging a giant spider, like, be my guest. And it's funny. I'm going to laugh about it. It's funny, okay? And then Dune, obviously, because I have the audacity to say the last line of the book is reductive of the female experience, despite saying I like Dune a lot. I love Dune, so I don't know what why people get so upset, but that's fine. That's fine. In terms of videos to film, my favorite video was the Loki book tag. That was a lot of fun. How to piss off fantasy readers. I had a good time with that. Book hauls are always a blast. I'm going to be doing one early in January when all my books come in from Amazon. I got gift cards for. And then the strangest book I own. That's a really fun one that I filmed early in the year. And then my Proust reflections were actually a lot of fun when I was actually reading Proust more regularly. I filmed those like once a week or every 2 weeks, and they're just like surprisingly wild. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun this year on BookTube, and I hope you guys had fun watching. I'm really happy that I'm up to like 150 subs now. That's great. You guys are awesome. Even though I know like most of you are probably just like following me because I followed your channel, but that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, I hope you have a great New Year's, and I can't wait to share my reading experiences with you in 2022. And I promise they'll be more funny than this video, which is not very funny today, but that's okay. I'm trying to do this quickly because my kids are home and they're distracted right now. But who knows how long that will be for. So yeah.